Hey, what's up, everyone? I got some exciting news. I got Emma here now to videotape for me, and she's using her phone because my phone had no data on it. Remember? I had to do 30-second videos trying to explain all this cool stuff going on and having to leave so much out. It was fun. Now I got even better news. You guys have to listen to me for a whole 3 minutes if you want. You don't have to listen. You can always go on, but I bet you won't want to. Want to know why? Because I'm excited to talk about plants with you guys and what we're doing. Check out this beautiful tray of tomato plants. Look at them up nice and close. They're nice stalks. If you look up close, you see all those little hairs? They're actually like little hairy animals. But anyways, have you smelled tomato plants before? I know it sounds funny, but if you haven't grown a tomato plant, one thing as you're learning this whole new COVID gardens or getting back to the old ways, it's awesome to see so many people gardening and growing plants. You're gonna love the smell of tomato plants. You have to. It's such a beautiful thing. Now, what we got here is heirloom tomatoes. We focus on all heirloom varieties. Heirlooms are ancient seeds. These are like your grandmother's seeds. Some of these seeds are thousands of years old, and they're selected for flavor, taste, and it's important to conserve seed diversity. What do we have here? Valmorian peach. Valmorian peach, that is a cool tomato. It actually is like a peach. It looks like a peach. It's fuzzy. Some of them have really soft, light skins, and it's super tasty. Those are neat. We have a San Marzano. Everyone knows San Marzano. I'm sure you do. And so let's talk about planting. So if you're starting your garden and stuff, there's certain ways you can start it. Here is your third stage. This stage goes into what we call a jiffy pot. On our farm, for the plants that we sell, we use these. And why do we use jiffy pots? Because there's way too much plastic in the world. We use plastic here, but we reuse it. And when you go to those nurseries, all you see is a bunch of these plants in these 4-inch plastic pots. And these plants were grown in massive nurseries that can go as far as the eye can see. And they're just sprayed with nitrogen and all these different chemical fertilizers so that they can be nice and green and look lump and be big. But guess what? You put those in your garden compared to something like this or another plant that's grown the way it should be grown and properly, it won't be subject to worms or like these little caterpillars that will like chew off the stems and just leave the plant there. And why? Because this plant has grown structurally different. It actually has stronger cells in it than a plant that was just fed nitrogen to look big and grow fast and look green. And this plant will have way more self-defense mechanisms and everything else. And then when you get into seed saving, your seed can actually imprint to your land and to your area, which is important where you can get local seeds. Anyway, so the cool thing, I'm getting distracted. Let's talk about jiffy pots. And why do we use these compared to a plastic pot? A plastic pot, plants like a tomato and others will get root bound. The roots will start wrapping itself around. Then you pull that plant out. And we all know you're supposed to break the roots apart. At least the ones that plant would know, and you're going to learn. And if you have to only get plastic ones, break those roots up because if they're root bound, it's not going to help your plant. But your plant's going to take at least 2 weeks to come back. And sometimes in these nurseries, they're not hardened off either. What is hardening off? Hardening off is when you grow your plants inside, and then after that, you got to put them out for about an hour or two because fluorescent lights to real sunlight is like a night and day difference. So make sure you bring them out for maybe an hour, bring them in for a bit. The next day, bring them out for an hour and a half, and bring them back in. The next day, bring them out for 4 hours, and eventually you'll see sometimes around the leaves and stuff, there'll be white tips on the edge, and that's the damage from the sun. But the new growth will come back dark green, and the tomato plant will have already created defense mechanisms to be able to withstand that strong sunlight and that energy. Isn't that cool? Plants are freaking cool. They know how to do that kind of stuff. Eating tomatoes actually reduces your chance of skin or sunburns by like 30%. So I'm trying to jam a lot in right now, but this is so you can see I'm excited about plants. So let's go back on with jiffy pots. What's so cool about these and the plants that we sell is that when you get it, you plant this right in your garden. By the time this is in 4 weeks from now, this could be a plant this size. That's a nice tomato plant, and you're going to be able to plant it right into your garden like this, and the tomato plant's not even going to be known it's moved. It probably will know because plants actually have awareness. That's how they learned how to make defense mechanisms. You know, prickly plants, how to spread seeds. They know their environment. They see their environment, and well, as weird as it sounds, they're alive. But anyways, this plant will just go right in the ground like this with soil. Bam, it's in the ground, done. The plant's this big. You want to know a cool trick about tomato plants? You grow them too early, they're too lanky. You can actually bury the stem. You can bury it right up to the top here. And all it's going to do is it's going to create roots that are going to be coming out of that tomato plant. And so we usually grow our tomato plants sometimes this big, and when they're planted, all you see is a small little tomato head. And you're like, those are small plants. They're huge plants, and they go down a foot. But then when you get those droughts or those water, when the water's for a month where no rain, we've had it here already, and it, it happens more and more often. I'm not going to use the word climate change because it's debatable, but it is climate change. But anyways, regardless of that, let's not get distracted. Let's have fun talking about tomatoes. So bury them deep. You can bury them right up to the stem, if that makes sense. It will. You'll see roots come right out. If you ever took in a tomato leaf, a tomato branch, you can actually put it in a jar of water. It'll grow roots. You can plant it. There's a new tomato. So now let's talk about spacing, because not everybody has enough space to take a corner of a barn and turn it into a grow room where Emma and I started over 10,000 plants. We hand seeded everyone, we looked after everyone, and a red squirrel was coming from the roof and it started eating all our cabbage and our cauliflower, and so we had to move our plants. Our plants are actually in our greenhouse now, and we'll show you that. They're actually all put to bed, and we have this frost netting over them. We put them out there looking at the weather, and then that cold blast came. You guys know what I'm talking about. That was that first cold blast where we're like, hey, the weather looks good. Now winter's here again. We had 4 propane heaters, those little circle ones set up, and we didn't sleep at all. And I'm still going to go check on them again tonight. But the plants are fine, they're doing well, and we had to move them out. But now we're going to fill it back up again, and today what we're doing, we're going to be transplanting all these ones, but mostly all these ones. And so let's talk about germination trays. If you don't have space, you can still grow a lot. In here, there's actually close to 450 tomato plants, and certain plants you can do this in the germination tray. You start them like that, and then you carefully pull them apart, and you can pot them up then into like a 4-pack or a 9-pack. We use 9-packs, so we use these cells right here. So this would be stage 2. Stage 2 is these 9 cells here. And so it goes from these 9 cells, and that's not all we use, but we go from there, which is this here, into these Jiffy pots. From these Jiffy pots, they go into our garden, or into your garden. And we hope your garden too, because you know what, we're really excited and happy to see all this gardening going on and people going back to the roots, and even supporting local farmers and local food. I mean, even the local economy, everything has its time and its place, and we're all here as one on earth, and so, but it's nice to support our neighbors and to work with it. But let's not get distracted again, let's talk about gardening, because that's what we're doing and that's what we're here for. So, you can pull those apart really gently. You can bury the stems. Again, I told you that. So if you want it, you can bury this up to here, even up to the top. And make sure you leave some of these top branches and this top of the tomato plant. But you can bury it down a few inches. Give it lots of water. Let it be nice and moist. Put it back under the lights. It's going to grow new roots. It's going to come strong. And then I think we talked about it. I can't remember now, because this is video number 2, take 2. But harden your plants off. You have to harden plants. If you put them right out in the sun, they're going to burn. And why? Because we talked about it. Because the sun's a lot more powerful than a fluorescent light, but the tomatoes are going to develop their antibodies. If you want to call it antibodies, the immune system, it's going to get stronger. It's going to have cell structure. It's going to be stronger. It's going to be really cool. There's another cool thing about that. Plants adapt to their environment, like we were talking about. That's why certain things like blueberries in the north are better, because it's called northern vigor. They have to store a lot more sugar and energy to withstand those harsh winters, which makes actually more nutritional food, more tasty food. Flavor of the land. Calabogie produces good food. And that's why we're excited about it. So let's look at other things. This is stage 1. This is actually a germination tray. You can use these. These are what we have. So these are like our last of our tomato plants, because after this, it's too late to start them now. Like, it'll take forever. We have black cherry, Oso blues. These Oso blues, they're super high in antioxidants. There's so many health benefits to them. And these tomatoes, like, you just can't find them at the nurseries or the grocery stores. And like, I'm not trying to beat up on nurseries. It's just that you just don't have diversity anymore. It's mass produced, and these plants can be so much healthier, and you can do better. And sometimes they sell things we don't need. I see pea plants for sale at the nursery. Don't buy a pea plant. Plant it in the ground. You could be planting peas now. We planted them. Plant the seed. It'll do a lot better. Not that. Other things I've seen for sale. Walmart nurseries, I'm not a fan of them. I'm not a fan of box store nurseries, because all it is mass-produced stuff, and they'll sell you plants that aren't even meant to be grown here, and you can do way better supporting local. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to talk more, have more videos, and this is way better. I love it. See you guys. Cheers.